This episode of A Conversation with John Conenna is sponsored by Generate. In today's digital age, staying ahead means harnessing the power of generative AI. Wondering how your small or medium-sized business can join this revolution? Look no further than Generate, your strategic partner for integrating cutting-edge generative AI solutions. We create personalized plans, adapting existing AI technologies to fit your specific business needs. Plus, our expert team provides essential training, empowering you to make the most of these innovative technologies. Interested in transforming your business with AI? Reach out to us at generateteam@gmail.com. That's generate, GENERAIT, team@gmail.com. And now, on with the episode.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of A Conversation with John Conenna. Today it brings me great pleasure to bring in, it's going to take me a while to name all these titles, but I'm going to give a shot.
Don't worry about it. My biggest title is special guest on the John Conenna show. That's the only title.
Okay, well, look, but I have to say, the only one I will say is, Ronnie, promoter extraordinaire, and it comes from a great man we both knew. His name was Chet Coppock.
Oh, good guy, man.
Chet loved you, and I ran into him a few times, and he used to tell me, Johnny, I didn't know you knew Onesti, but what a guy here in Chicago. Ronnie, I got to start out by saying this. It's just amazes me because I know what I was going through during the COVID time. I call it the COVID time. I don't call it the 2020s. I call it the COVID time. And what I got from you when I really started to get to know you during that time was the drive and the determination for the entertainment. What was going through your mind in 2020 when you saw that, hey, this shoe had fallen off? It not only affected a John Conenna, but it affected you, the world, everybody else. What was going through your mind?
Well, you know what? It was a twofold thing, Johnny. It was number one, it was weird how it was happening. We would have things, we'd have like a whiteboard in our marketing office with all the shows listed. And just because we put ticket counts, it was a working tool. And as this thing was happening, and we didn't really realize or even could even just contemplate the fact that it was going to be 2 years plus. It would be, I'd come in, you know what, we can't have to cancel this show. We cross this one out. Like, oh my gosh, that's, then I go to my second show, my third show, like, wow, that's a lot. Until then was like cancel. We canceled everything. It was like the stock market crashing for us physically. And when as you put the final shoe drop and we had to close, I realized, almost instantly that we got to figure something out to get people music. The only way that people are going to get through all this is to give them the music. So, when we're all like, we couldn't do anything, we couldn't say anything, everybody had masks, not even social distancing. This when we're all in lockdown, but I still went to the theater and I got a hold of a few bands. Infinity was one. There's a few bands that did it. Nick Hodges, Tony Ocean, those guys. And we just did these live streams right off the bat. And we're actually credited to be the first entity to do the live stream because I did for the first 10 nights when the lockdown, we did a band every single night. And it was only my brother and a couple people in the audience there, not even the audience, technical people, all with the dancing, all wrapped in tourniquets and all the bandages around our heads, all that crazy saran wrap and Dominic's bags over our heads, Caputo bags. It was crazy. But that's what we did. And as we kept on doing it, we really kicked into the point that music is what's going to get us through. So I kept trying to do the music thing. The other side of the coin was the just before the COVID happened, I had a 3-year renovation plan for the Arcada and opening up the Displays.
I remember that.
We kept going with that. But what was a 3-year plan, we got done in 11 months because we're all shut down. So when you came to the Arcada, when you returned to the Arcada, you saw all these new restaurants, new bars, new decor. The building looked amazing. The Displays Theater was done. So on that side, the COVID thing actually helped us.
Sure. And thank you for bringing up the whole thing about that because Displays was not open yet. And you kept coming on social media venues and saying, hey, we're getting this done, wait to and always your theme was at the end, you know, to this, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. And there were nights when I would tell people, man, he's such a positive influence, meaning, you know, because here I thought, I'm never opening up this Venus travel on West Elm anymore. I go, this is over. This is a new way of life. But did you know in your heart of hearts that this could turn, or did you think the shoe was going to fall off again?
No, I mean, I had nothing but confidence and faith. You know, that happens for me. I mean, you know, there's a lot of challenges in like in every business, every industry that's got their challenges.
Sure.
You know, as it was no secret that the hospitality and entertainment industry were of the hardest hit. You know, we didn't get funding, at least for, you know, a lot of it, we didn't get funding for, especially on the entertainment side at the beginning. And you know, just nobody could come out, so we had literally nothing to do. You saw the restaurant, and my restaurant situation did not lend to the whole to go things and you know, people come and take out and all that. It just didn't lend to that. So we had zero. And the thing was amazing to me was that expenses were still happening. You know, our
Sure.
insurance, our leases, all our utilities. I mean, we still had to come up with money every month for things, every week for things. Some people we kept on the payroll. Some people we paid their insurance. Some people, you know, so we still had out and no in, and that was the tough part.
Yeah,
But
when that door is locked, those bills are still coming in. Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
I had nothing but faith and confidence for to get through it. I mean, I think about what my dad taught me. I think about what they went through in World War II. I mean, my
Right.
gosh, compared to that, the millions of people who died in World War II, look what we had to go through. I mean,
Sure.
it's nothing. I mean, you know,
A
you look
very
at
good point, because the era of your father or my father was the era of sacrifice. They saw the bad. I remember my dad saying, I don't know if you people could handle the bad. You
oh,
know,
we couldn't, not a
we
chance.
could. Right.
Look at right now. We stub a toe, and then we start an organization about it, and a GoFundMe page, and we take off work for 3 months. And those guys, my dad had trench feet because he had to sit in standing water for 2 months in a foxhole. So I mean, you know, who you tell that to people today? Is not a chance, not a
What,
chance.
what an era. I got to
Yep.
tell you, you were doing things, you know, within the Italian community, other things, promoting things. You kept yourself busy during a time where we were all in doubt. Did that help you during that time to stay as busy as you did, you know, forming things, meetings, telling? I really thought it was a positive, you know, you were really taking the community and saying, hey, come on, you know, we're all in this together. Was that your mindset right after this was bursted onto the scene?
Absolutely. You know, we're all in this together. Again, you know, we've gotten through, you look at history, and you know, I wasn't going to let it win. And so I would tell people, I said, if you're upset about it, if you're really struggling and hurting and not doing anything positive about it, then it wins. And we can't have that. We can't let the COVID win. We can't let these theories, conspiracies win. We can't let the negative people win or the bad people win. And I wouldn't let them. So we stayed positive. We stayed as open as we could. We opened as soon as we could. And I was totally convinced I was not going to let it. I knew a new day would happen. You know, I wish it would have came back sooner. I mean, 2 years is unbelievable what happened. And you know what? And not to make, and I want to make it clear that I'm not making any light of it. I mean,
Sure.
so many people lost so much. So many people passed away. I had an aunt who passed away from COVID. Marco, I can't remember his last name, but a 53-year-old Chicago police officer was the first police officer to die of COVID, an Italian-American police officer, left 2 little kids. I mean, people definitely struggled. It was tragic. Businesses closed. I mean, I'm not making light of any of that. But at the end of the day, I knew we had to emerge victorious and positive, you know?
Right. And I knew, like you said, one time we were at a meeting together, and you said to me, we could look out the window and, you know, not do nothing about this, but, you know, we have to keep this going. You know, could you ever envision, Ronnie, from the 1980, where you were the young president of this JCIA thing, to now where it's at now for you with the theaters, the entertainment, the restaurants. I mean, you know, of course, we all have goals. We all have goals. I mean, you know, I had a goal that I was going to be coming out behind Tony Esposito in the Chicago Stadium. Never happened. Maybe Tony thought I had bad breath. I don't know. But anyway, I have to tell you, what you're driven by the goal, right? I mean, you always had the goals as the young guy coming in here.
No, no, John, I wish I could say that this is what I'm doing now was part of some big plan, a master plan, and I methodically achieved this, did that, accomplished that, opened this. You know what? It just I had several different business models going. You know, I had a pact with my dad before he passed away about being involved in the Italian American community. And then the statue thing happened and I got thrust into that and you know, like I said, it was an evolutionary process more than a structured goal situation. I didn't plan on being in the entertainment business. I'm not a singer, dancer, songwriter.
Right.
I'm not in a band. I mean, I love the food business. I didn't plan on having restaurants. I loved it. I started in restaurants when I was 14 years old, actually 11 years old. But like I said, my path, my career path, my journey is one that just happened. I didn't look left and right. I didn't look back. I always kept on looking forward.
Sure.
And I was a product of society, of the environment, you know, of the entertainment environment, of food service. It just all kind of happened. Just like with my places, if you come to my places, all the speakeasies or the restaurants or the theaters, and you see, I mean, people say it's so beautiful. It's themed in the 1920s. We've got over 400 antiques in one alone. And they say, who's your designer? Who's your architect? I said, I did it all, every color, every little detail, and that, but I didn't draw anything out, didn't write anything down, no designer, no architect. I just got this, got that, put that there, and it just happened. So
it comes together. I gotta tell you, the biggest thing about you that I always hear is, geez, how does he find the time? How does he find the time to be in Elmwood Park? And then at 10 o'clock at night, he's listening to the stylistics of the Des Plaines Theater. I said, if he wasn't able to do it, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it half-assed. Is my answer correct in saying you're not gonna do it halfway?
100% right, John. You know, people do ask me that. I mean, you know, it's no big deal. I mean, everybody does their thing. This is my thing, and I take it very seriously. I'm willing to do stupid things like just get the displays, introduce an act, get the band going, make sure jump in a car, drive an hour, get back to St. Charles, just to take care of that band, then have meetings during the day, and then at night go cook, go back to cooking because we got a problem in the kitchen. I mean, it's my commitment to my craft, a commitment to my business, no different than what you've done. You've done for me personally. When I'm in a jam, I'm in Italy and I can't get out of there, and I'm calling John at midnight, at 2 in. We all do what we got to do. And they say, how does he do it? There's no formula except for the fact that I don't. By the time you're done worrying about how you're going to do it, I just get it done. I just don't think about it and just keep going. If I got to do, you know, most days I'll be between 5 and 12 places every single day, 7 days a week.
No and problem. You know what? I love that about you because here's the thing. It's not about you showing up. Oh yeah, you see Ronnie's at the Softball Hall of Fame. Yeah, he won it's about Ron Onesti. No, it's not about Ron Onesti. It's about the content. He respects the Hall of Fame of the baseball. Right. He respects the act. If it's Casey and the Sunshine Band or who's ever singing there, he respects that. If 100%. He doesn't show up, I says, there's the disrespect.
Well, you know what? It's just that you're right. I am a huge, you know, my peers in the business are all about, well, you know, I'm not starstruck. I don't care about this. I don't care. Big deal. It's a celebrity. I am totally starstruck. I have nothing but deep respect for you know, I'm very fortunate that I get to present and work with and befriend my heroes that I had growing up. Foreigner, Pat Bennett, they're all very good friends now. And even the older people before me, like Peter Noon of Herman's Hermits, or Tommy James and the Shondells, or any of those people. Where I didn't grow up with them. I mean, that music I kind of did, but at the end of the day, these are just legends, and I'm totally starstruck. And if I can introduce them and say hello and form a relationship with them, Paul Anka is like my Uncle Paul. I talk to him once a week practically.
He's been by you so many times.
My gosh, Priscilla Presley, one of my closest friends in the business now. I'll be with her in New York next week. It goes on and on. I mean, they're people too, and they look for real people, real friendships. I've had in the last 40 years struck up these friendships. So when they come to my home, it's just like you invite people to dinner, but you don't show up. What does that say, right, John?
Exactly, right? You know, it leads me to this point, and I know I started with this whole thing of COVID, but I wanted to talk about what's fresh now in our lives after this COVID. Do you feel the respect that after this all came, now we're getting back on track and we've all started to get back on track, even though the damage was done by COVID? Do you see the respect now from an Anka, from a Benatar, from a Priscilla Presley? Hey, Ronnie, I'm going to come out to your venue because you're that promoter. They didn't forget about what you did for them, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean that comes back 20-fold rather. Yeah, I mean they remember. There's like, for example, Scott Stapp of Creed. It was a big band out, big tour coming out this summer, and he was struggling with drugs and alcoholism. Not really drugs, but alcoholism, and he was forgotten. And people, I've hired people when they needed it most, or when they were coming up. And now that they're big stars, they remember and they come back. That's why I have so many. People have to understand that there's a thing called radius clauses. So if I have somebody at my theater, that means that act can't be around Chicago for 6 months, 8 months, a year. It just takes them out of the, out of the circle here. So to have, to do almost 500 shows a year, that means all 500 of those entertainers cannot play the Rialto, the Genesee, the whatever, because of a route situation. So that's the amazing thing about our business is that, or our company, the theaters, is that it's not only who we have, but the sheer amount of rock and roll Hall of Famers and legends and icons in our little place, Des Plaines in St. Charles. We're not the Chicago Theater. We're not the Kodak Theater in LA. We're not Madison Square Garden. We're 900-seater and 1,000-seater in Des Plaines in St. Charles. And that's the amazing thing. It really is to see just how many of those acts we get every year.
You know what? I don't care if it's Daniela Croco, Diva Montel. I'm not going to try to slide anybody. Or if it is the Stylistics or whatever, you made those theaters like they were 10,000 seaters. I mean, you go into there for that feel. You're like, you're not going in there. Oh yeah, there's only, no, you see it packed. You feel the emotion and the passion. Ask you a question.
What we try to do, John, is that what I've always tried to profess here, try to create is, sometimes you go with your wife or husband and for New Year's Eve, it's just you two, and you go out and you go to a hotel party or some big thing and you just go there yourself. But by the end of the night, you've made 20 friends and let's keep in touch. And you're all singing and dancing together. That's kind of what our situation is. You come home and you had such a great time and it brings you back to where your high school and college memories were musically. So that's what we try to make happen.
Yeah, you were spot on, because that's what, when I've come to there and seen some of the acts, I'm like, holy cow, because my favorite tune, of course, was Get Down Tonight by KC. I gotta ask you, because I just started this podcast 3 years ago after being on a great show here in the Italian community, Dominican Seaman with Pat Campani, but I just felt I wanted to do more of a one-on-one. I gotta ask you, what was that first couple acts where you said to yourself, wow, I got so-and-so coming to the Arcada? When did you start to feel like, okay, man, I got this all going on, and now you start to feel like I was, that little bit of I could be good and bad on that dance floor?
Well, it was about, it's a good question. It was a long time. It was probably 8 years when I had the Arcada, because in mind that, remember, I got this about, I think it was 2006, something like that. Yeah, I think it was 2006. And 2008, if you remember, the economy caved again.
Yep.
So it really, and I lost all the sponsors. Nobody bought tickets. So I was hanging on by my fingernails for a long time with the Arcada. Couldn't do any renovation. Didn't have the money for it. But it was a slow renovation situation. And then all of a sudden, probably 2015 is when I really stepped it up and decided to go all in and put all this money into it and fix it up. And then and and then for those 4 or 5 years, we were just really rocking it like crazy. And then COVID came and then stepped it all up, redid the whole remodel again.
Sure.
And now it's a complete, again, it's part of the evolutionary process of this whole thing.
Fantastic. I mean, but you remember those, I mean, by 15, you were getting some, maybe they were the older acts, but they were the quality acts of
Oh
the
yeah, I mean,
day.
we're getting,
Yeah.
I was doing TV shows. We did Joan Rivers' last stand-up comedy show for Showtime. We did Richard Marx. We did Andrew Dice Clay for Comedy Central. We did Foreigners Access TV special. So we're doing some TV as well. I produced a couple things for Showtime. The Godfather's a Comedy is one of them. And so, it's just going down different roads, production wise, whether it's broadcast and streaming, and just trying to find my way, and also getting these classic Anka, Humperdinck, Wayne Newton, these types of people that were just legends, along with people like Patty Page and Mickey Rooney and Barbara Eden and Debbie Reynolds. I said, these are just people that I loved to do a Q&A with and just keep our childhood alive,
Exactly. And I got to tell you, you as now the outsider looking in, if you're in St. Charles or if you're in Des Plaines, when you see like that 75 or 80-year-old person who's at your venue and you see them and they're staring at, let's say, a Patty Page, you see like, wow, I mean, that's got to be a good feel for you, meaning, wow, I brought something for this person tonight that they could have never realized back when they were in the heyday, correct?
So you can't even, I mean, I can't even tell you, that's what I get out of this whole deal. It's business. It's how I, feed my family and all that stuff. But the joy that the music and the experience and the entertainer brings to the people, especially those that are getting on in their years. I mean, we specialize in music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, a little bit of 90s, 1920s and 40s, Glenn Miller Orchestra, Prohibition music. We do all that stuff. But the joy it brings to the people who are on their years, it just makes it all worth it. I can give you story upon story upon story of people who've, the lady who was sitting there at the Frank Sinatra Jr. concert before he passed away, and we were at one of his last shows, if not his last show. And she was crying and crying, and I went up to her and she said, I decided to come because my husband bought me tickets for this show for our anniversary. It was our 50th anniversary. He passed away last week, and I decided to still come. I mean, I'll give you story after story like that.
Sure. I have to tell you, you being this promoter that you are, and listen, you're a world-renowned promoter, meaning in the sense of people know you.
Well,
do you feel now, 2024, May 3rd, do you feel now that, wow, I get the respect from a Frankie Avalon, a Paul Anka. I'll never forget the night you introduced me to Avalon. I was looking at you like I was on, like I thought you were going to tell, I look like Jackie Gleason when you introduced me. I'm gonna. But I got to tell you, do you feel the respect from these people? From promoter to the guest.
Right. No, I don't know if it's a respect today. I look at it, it's more of a friendship. You got to look at these people that are surrounded by crazed fans, some better than others, people who are sincere, promoters who are not so sincere, just looking to screw them on money or just to get as much. So, I mean, they've been through it all, these entertainers. They see the good, bad, and the ugly, and they recognize, I guess, my approach is a very family approach. I cook for them, Rick Springfield calls me the king of the eat and greet because of my meatballs and the way I cook for the bands. We've got such a friendship, and again, as opposed to you put it as respect, I just think it's a mutual respect from a friendship standpoint, and it's just somebody that they trust. Like, for example, with Priscilla, I got her I submitted her for an award in New York, and she normally wouldn't do that, but I submitted her, and she was all about it, and she's going, and I'm accompanying her, and she just wants me there to protect her, and when I say protect her, just be the buffer between press and that kind of thing.
Sure.
again, it's more than respect. I think it's trust that I would been able to garner from them, and that's a huge thing in this business.
Ronnie, I know this is going to sound silly, but as the promoter, Ron Onesti, is it a different button to push with an Anka to say from Paul Anka to Frankie Avalon or Paul Anka to Patty Page? Or you have to, you know how to, like when that phone call comes in, Ronnie, yeah, I saw that you called, or Ronnie, I got your email. Okay, now here's Anka. This is how I gotta kind of pet him. You
Absolutely.
feel, yeah.
And that's part of the magic of this. That's what I don't know. That's where I guess my profession is. It's knowing who to and how to talk to people, and all these people. They're all my friends. They're all my great friends, but I'm still giving them big checks. So I don't take any of that lightly, and I don't pretend that Paul Anka will. Well, I mean, he might, because I'll give you an example, like Tony Orlando and Dawn. I was opening up one of my restaurants, and I was talking to him about it without me even knowing. He flies in to be at my grand opening.
Wow.
Terry, say open up another restaurant. He was there to be at my grand opening. He was at my daughter's second birthday party. He was I mean, these are, so again, you establish friendships. Or when again, I'll bring up Chaz again, his agent was a very close friend of mine, and he passed away. And so, when you have someone's a common friend that gets sick, then you share that with somebody, and it's not business anymore. And I've been doing it for so long with so many people that we've created this relationship and this bond that, I'll get a call from Paul Anka at 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Or other people that, hey, sometimes they're sitting in an airport and they're calling people. They look down at us, Ron. Hey, what are you doing? Like, hi, who's this? Oh, Scott Stapp. Oh, how you doing, Scott? Or whoever it is, or Peter Noon. I was in Florida last year, and I was walking through, and I hear my name, someone screaming my name from probably, I don't even know, 500 feet away. And it's Peter Noon of Herman's Hermits. He was just
Herman's Hermits, yes.
Chasing me like, Peter, what's up? Oh, I thought it was you. I knew you from your hair, from the back of your hair.
Right.
I mean, you just get these friendships, and it's cool because I'll be on planes going back and forth to LA or New York. Be like, hey, what are you doing? I'll be on the same plane. No, it's a circle of friends. It's a circle of family. It's a circle of professionals, like in any industry, and people get to know you, get to know your name or know your place, and we've been able to take the Arcada Theater, at least at this point, to like an international respect level that, like the Fillmore East or one of these other places back in history, people, are treating it that way because we've had everybody. We really have, almost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be is it still a thrill for you? Like, say, when let's say it was Gloria Gaynor or Anka, and they call you, like, maybe as soon as we get off this interview here now in the next couple of minutes, and they call you up and you're like, I mean, it's gotta be that feeling of like, wow.
All the time. I'll get from Brett Michaels, it just goes on and on. I mean, Davy Jones from the Monkees would call me all the time. I mean, that was a big blow. He would, when I have him for a show, if I came on a Saturday night, he'd come in on Monday just to hang with me all week. Mickey Rooney stayed with me for a whole week, even though we just had a show on one night. It goes on and on and on. Again, these are friendships, and when you're on the road and you're doing this for so long, these guys, they and girls, they know who's real and who's trustworthy. And plus, we're fun. We're good people.
Yeah, they've been through it. They get the area. Listen, I know your time is valuable. We're going to play a game of 5 questions, and then I'm going to let you go. But there's something I got to say about you at the end after the 5 questions. So answer these 5 questions, one word or a sentence, but pretty easy. But
let's start. True, false, sometimes, 3 times, and never. Are we done?
Okay. Well, just a little bit better. All right. What's Ron Onesti's? Because I want people to get to know you a little bit better, even though the whole world knows.
Yeah.
What's Ron's favorite movie he can watch 200 times and not get bored?
I'm close to it right now. It just came out, Cabrini. Anybody this, watch Cabrini. Of course, I love all the classics, but Cabrini is something. The way that she is tells the story of Mother Cabrini, but also of the Italian immigration and migration to America. it's touched home so much. And I was part of that film, not part of it, but I mean, while it was being shot, I know the people who did it, the star who played Mother Cabrini, very close friend. So it's,
How many times have you watched it already?
I probably 20, and I can't
Wow.
get enough of it. Can't
For
get
a
enough.
new movie, I find this answer really great.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Beautiful.
For me, I mean, for me personally, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Who's that early mentor besides mom and dad, let's say? But who's that early mentor that you still talk about to this day, or you bring up in your mind, or a day doesn't go by where you don't think about it, or her?
Yeah, I mean, there's been, I've been lucky. There's been a bunch of them. When I was 11, 12 years old, my first job was at a Jewish deli in Oak Park called the Onion Roll. And there was an
Sure.
old Jewish guy, Ben Tilkin, that was there, and he was a tough guy. He was not a very nice person, but I tell you what, everything in my cooking skills, not the skills as much as you know, cleanliness and how important it is and working hard. He would
Sure.
and scream. This is way before political correctness or anything you're worried about. He'd give me a
Yeah,
slap
right.
in the head. Yeah, it was him. Another guy, Rocky Aguilari, is another guy that while I was working at this deli, he was a sheriff deputy, and he had all these side business. A big entrepreneur, and he brought me into that and showed me the art of entrepreneurialism. So between those two guys, they really had a big impact on me.
Very nice to bring it up, and like you said, a different era, a different time, but showed you again, you know. How to... Okay, here's the third question. We got two more. Third question. Who I'm doing the interviewing today, but if you were doing the interviewing, you've done a lot of interviews over the years with your own shows. If you were doing the interview, I know the answer. I know the answer, but if you were doing the interviewing, it can't be me, because I know you want to interview me. Who would it be?
You say you know the answer. Who would it be?
It'd be me. I told you it would be me. But
No, that's my fantasy, but not, you know, I could never even believe that could happen. Let's see here. So, well, in history,
yeah, history, man, woman, astronaut. I don't know. Just
you know, I've got a big five of people that are like been kind of a guide for me. So
I'll give me five.
well, it was my dad was one of them, but you know, you look at P.T. Barnum, George M. Cohan,
Oh wow.
yeah, Walt Disney, and Thomas Edison. Those are people that I've followed with their ways of doing things and presenting and being creative and inventive, and those are my heroes.
Well, you know what? And Ronnie, I just knowing the way I know you, I didn't expect that, but those are five great men, five great people there, without a doubt. All right. Know a little bit about Elena, but I gotta ask you something. So you better make a wet answer here. What is your favorite meal that Elena makes that you could dig in right now? You gotta watch this. Like I got the spot here, man.
Yeah, I tell you, it's
Give me two. Give me two.
hard to choose. Let's see here. She does a chicken with sun-dried tomatoes. That's you know, we like the sun-dried tomato, onion, garlic, a little anchovy. It's a little recipe that we like very much.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, good, good. And my a big un saluto to Elena.
Absolutely.
Okay. And last question. You've done it all, my friend. You've done it all. From the Italian community.
Just starting, man.
The promotions, the everything, the Italian Hall of Fame. I know we're going to get that going here again soon. Everything else, Ronnie, what's in the future for Ron Onesti?
Well, you know what? I'm really looking at, you know, we just lost Joanne Serpico of our American community.
Very special lady.
Yes, very. The same day I lost a 50-year-old member of my security team to an enlarged heart. You know, my brother Rich, who's doing very well now, but had a heart attack at 55.
Best him too.
You know, and I tell you, get a little bit older. I'll be 62 this week, and you know, the mortality thing is getting to be more and more real. So, what's in store for me? I just want to get I'm getting my life in order. You know, all my stuff, all this, my story, the storage units, all this stuff. Trying to get that in order. I have very specific goals what I want to accomplish in the Italian American community. I have certain things I want to accomplish with regards to my business. I'm opening up a couple more places. I'm opening up a cafe on Harlem. Looks
Oh,
like
wow.
another speakeasy on Milwaukee and Chicago, a few other projects like that. So
Nice.
the next a couple of years, there's be some serious growth both in my business and in my in the Italian American community. I'm going, 24/7. It's really not good for me, but I'm still going. But I intend to back down from that the next couple of years. But for the next couple of years, it's going to be 60 miles an hour every day.
I really will look forward to the Harlem Avenue because then you'll be closer to me. And like I said before in this interview, if you couldn't do it, you wouldn't do it. So that's how I look at you.
That's
Right.
that simple.
Yeah. But here's how I want to leave you. When I was doing the research on you, it stared me right in the face. You know, when you're reading a good book or you're looking at something, it stares you right in the face, and there's your answer. This is what Ron Onesti is all about, everyone. I do this to bring smiles to people when they need it most through music and entertainment. Ron Onesti, you keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for today. I truly thank you for coming on my show because this was fantastic. This was a breath of fresh air. I wanted to talk about what's going on now and not the past.
Take that, Johnny. What you're doing is also amazing. I mean, I love that you're doing it. I've noticed. I watched the one you did with Daniela Crocco and a few others, and I love your line of questioning. It's always positive. It's really good.
Yeah. No, and we got to keep it that way. Listen, thanks for all you do for me, and hopefully we could do another one somewhere down the road.
All right, brother. All the
All
best.
right.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, and best to everybody there.
Ciao, ciao.
Good night, everyone.